Hey Steelers Nation, in today's episode, we're going to discuss some specific players that you guys have sent at me. The reason I had you guys send me things in the comments rather than just going off all the reports that are out there is because, as we all know, this is the season of lying. And I don't really think that it'd be beneficial for you guys or myself to really go through and go, this is the latest lie and follow them. Rather, I want you guys to send me the people, and that's who we're going to talk about. So, kind of put it in organizational structure. Today is basically going to be the corners that you guys asked me about. Corners a very hot button issue, and I'm going to start with the one that I think Steelers Nation is craving the most, that I think would be a horrible selection, and that is talking about Mr. Joey Porter Jr. Listen, the bottom line with Joey Porter is that he is a full contact player. If this were the 70s, his comp would be a slower Mel Blount. He loves hitting people. He keeps you from getting out of your route and getting open by doing defensive holding. What he does in college is a flag every single game and twice on the Sundays. So do I think that Joey Porter is going to be worth it? No, because I don't think that he'll ever get over the hurdle of becoming a flag machine and staying on the field. And the one thing that's true with Steelers Nation is if a corner blows up bad early, we don't let it go. I mean, hell, guys, we don't let anything go. We're Steelers Nation. So do I think that Joey Porter is a great starting point? No. I start with Joey Porter not because he's the most talented in the draft, not because of anything else other than you guys keep telling me you want him. And quite frankly, if his name wasn't Joey Porter Jr., no one would like him except for the Penn State alumni out there, which I understand that contingency. The bottom line is that both of the Big Ten corners, Devon, Witherspoon, and Joey Porter Jr., are not going to be good fits in the NFL. Joey Porter's not going to be good because of all the penalties I just said. Devon is going to need to be a corner, but with his lack of lateral speed, he will get torn apart. And he is 100% one of the corners I want to go before the Steelers are on the clock. Because of all of the top end talent, he is my vote, Witherspoon, to be the most likely to bust. No questions asked. He is the one that I believe will do it. So therefore, get him off of my list. I don't want to talk about him. People are enamored with him and they just think there's all this potential. But the reality is that you don't develop quick agility at the next level. At the next level, you develop more power, strength. You can develop more quickness, but you don't get change in fluidity. That is essentially something your hips can do or they can't. And by the level of coaching that you're getting through the D1 level, you either have it or you don't at this point. And quite frankly, I don't believe the Witherspoon is going to be able to stand the test of time. I see Artie Burns written all over that guy, and I don't want to touch it. That's a long story short. Now, the one that I do absolutely love, but totally expect him not to be on the board, if I had my first pick overall in terms of needing a corner, it would be Christian Gonzalez. To me, he has basically everything you single want. To me, he is leap years ahead of Porter and Witherspoon because I both think they're overrated. And like I said, Gonzalez gives you every single thing you want. He has the speed makeup that if he does get burnt, he can make you up downfield. He is the ultimate speed addition, which would be fantastic in this secondary, especially looking at the fact that we like playing teams, particularly the two in Ohio, that like pushing the ball downfield. And now that they're both built to do it, having a corner that can do that is essential. So I would love to have Christian Gonzalez. Again, I just don't think he's going to be there. And quite frankly, I don't think he should be there. If he gets past Detroit, I will be amazed. Detroit needs corners like crazy. He's the best on the board overall. So, like I said, Gonzalez is the one. If lottery Steelers trade up, if the con mystery isn't trading away Johnson for another receiver, but trading up to get a corner, he absolutely is on that list of capable guys that I would believe in and would be all for. The other two that you guys have been sending me at was Ringo. Nothing wrong with Ringo per se. This is a general highlight defense concern that I have. Ringo is obviously from UGA, the University of Georgia. So that defense, everyone on the planet knows is the best in the world. So was Alabama's before. So I draw that comparison specifically because they're equals. There were obviously elite players on Alabama's prime defense back in the day. We have one of them. His name's Minka. He's amazing. That being said, the corners never really got tested. So when we look at what Ringo actually went through in terms of on the field being tested, it doesn't really happen a lot because Georgia's pass rush is insane. This is like, you just don't know if he can cover in a long period of time because he never had to. So when we have to look at the measurables, yeah, he's got more fluid than Witherspoon. I definitely haven't rated higher than him. And he doesn't take penalties. So I love the possibility of Ringo, but I always have the risk of how's it going to work. But that being said, I wasn't at the Senior Bowl and I didn't have him come in the facilities. I guarantee you, if we sign him, Tomlin does not have that fear. And Ringo, to me, I think would be a fantastic add-on to this team in general. Another corner that got sent at me was Banks out of Maryland. I'm personally just skeptical of the Maryland connection. I've seen us waste too many picks on the Terps. That being said, Banks has had that off the season injury COVID thing where it's like, what's going on? But when he's out there, he's pretty damn good. I definitely wouldn't go one at him, with the first pick. And as I mentioned before, knowing how long corners in general look, it takes them too long to develop. It takes them 5 years to develop. So the way that I view Banks is decent lottery pick. I don't ever see him becoming an elite of the elite. So if you want to just get a plug and fill guy as an insurance policy, you can do that at 32 or 49. I don't particularly think it's a great strategy. If I'm sitting here and I'm saying you have to have a corner by the end of the second round, you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, you're required to do this, I'm going Ringo early. I mean, that's how I would want to do it. I don't like that mentality at all. Again, as I've mentioned before, knowing how long corners take to develop, I personally am going for getting people's high talent guys that just didn't work out. For instance, if Joey Porter goes somewhere, gets holding penalties like crazy, doesn't want to stay there, I am all for re-signing him whenever he's done with his first contract and he's 26 and he's learned not how to get holding penalties. That's how I view team building at the cornerback position. Now, that being said, as I said in the video before, it's a conundrum. You're not getting a lottery pick doing that. You're not getting Revis. I think that when we look at it, the one from Oregon is the only one that I truly say could be Revis out of this group. And when it goes all in, do I think the Steelers are going to take a corner early? I wouldn't be surprised. I know how much Tomlin values having relationships that he knows about. Obviously, he's got a tremendous relationship with Joey Porter Sr. So do I think it's going there? Possibly. I just hope not. Because I don't like sentimental reasons blocking out the fact he's not a better football player than Ringo. That's my answer. So if you're putting a gun to my head saying first round, both are on the board, who we take, I'm taking Ringo. I mean, there's just no doubt about that. Ringo gives me better overall, and I think he's going to have less pitfalls in the beginning. And looking with what the Steelers are right now, we are a team of unproven potential. We need to have immediate upgrades. And throwing another stoke in the potential fire doesn't really do it for me. Because as I said before when we did our episode on corners, Witherspoon, the one that we have, is amazing when he was healthy. World-beating class, all-pro type numbers. And we have a potential lottery pick there. And Wallace is a steady enough number too. I do not want to waste the first pick overall, on the first round pick rather, on the slot corner, which is all I think that Witherspoon in the draft could be. So I don't personally view corner as a place where we can tangibly upgrade this team. Tomorrow I'm going to break down players we can get in the first round that I think will tangibly upgrade this team and how we can go from there. As for the part with Jaxon Smith that was thrown at me, the wide receiver from Ohio State, he's an amazing talent. I don't think the Steelers are going to draft that early at wide receiver unless we trade Deonte to actually acquire that pick. I just don't think it's happening. I mean, he's obviously a great receiver. He can tear things up. Also, the Big Ten doesn't cover very well. I mean, this is the problem with Ohio State offense in general. It's not a good defensive conference, which makes me worry about the Big Ten corners that are coming out and why I'd much rather go with Ringo. It's just the way that it is. But Jackson's got talent. He can get open. Obviously, Olave took off last year coming out of Ohio State, and he's going to be a great asset wherever he ends up. Hope it's not in the division. I especially hope it's not in Cincinnati, but he's going to be a talent. I have no doubt about that. I'm as confident that Jaxon Smith will be talented as I am that Joey Porter will have rookie pitfalls. So Steelers Nation, I hope that clarified about what I was looking at, what I'm seeing from the draft candidates coming up here. And I'm going to be covering an entire different slew of guys tomorrow. Again, guys that I believe can make immediate impact on this team day one. And quite frankly, that's what we need out of our first round pick. Throwing another guy that might beat up for a position, that's not really moving the needle for me. I want a bona fide, not coming off the field as long as he's healthy, all 17 games, start to finish. He is the guy. And that's what I want at first round. And I just don't see it out of the corners.